Bidet Geeks, welcome back to the Geek Cider Show. I'm Josh.
I'm Anna.
And in this video, we're going to be talking about The Legend of Vox Machina, episodes 1, 2, and 3. So if you haven't seen them yet and you want to avoid any spoilers, skip this video and come back later because everything we say from this point forward is going to be a spoiler. Okay, I expected that I would enjoy The Legend of Vox Machina. I even expected that it would be good. I didn't really expect it to be great.
And especially just 3 episodes in.
Right, and it is fantastic. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
So good. It's like so much better than I ever could have thought. Like, obviously we already know the basic gist of the story, but it still felt fresh and new, and it was just so good.
That's what I was really kind of surprised about is, we've watched all of the Vox Machina Critical Role, Campaign 1. We've watched the whole thing. We cannot be surprised.
Yeah.
All the twists and turns that are coming up are we know them, but still, it was really fresh.
Yeah.
And I think that, I mean, even we're coming in from the perspective of people who are people who have been Critical Role fans for a couple of years now and know the campaign. I think it'll be pretty well received by people who aren't familiar with it either.
Yeah. I definitely think we're gonna have an influx of critters who fall in love with The Legend of Vox Machina and then have to like, what is this? What else are they doing? And then they'll get into it, which also means an influx of D&D players, probably, because when you watch Critical Role, you're like, man, that looks fun, and then you want to try it.
And one thing that did surprise me, and I've been kind of actively avoiding like what's been, what their plans were for The Legend of Vox Machina, but beyond, that it's happening and when it's coming out. Beyond that, I really didn't know that much about what they're planning to do. When they announced it, they're doing the Briarwood arc. So the first 2 episodes did surprise me because that's stuff that happened pre-campaign, and I thought that was great. Even though we did know that Krieg is the Blue Dragon because that came out during the campaign, but those events were pre-campaign. So I am really happy that we got to see those. And the foreshadowing of the Chroma Conclave, if it gets a season 2, I think they're going to do the Chroma Conclave.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Oh man, I need them to do the entire campaign. I need the entire campaign.
I think there's some stuff that they can probably gloss over.
Oh yeah. There's some stuff that they can skip and gloss over. Just like, I don't remember exactly how many episodes the Briarwood arc is, but it definitely wasn't 12. It was way more than that. So there's definitely things they can skip over. But like all the major arcs, I want to see every single one. I love it so much.
One of the things that I really liked that they did was the way they kind of literally illustrated the spells from D&D.
Yeah.
Like Pike's Holy Weapon, when she casts Holy Weapon on Vex's bow, or actually the arrow, and on Grog's axe. I thought that was phenomenal. I really loved it.
Yeah.
I love that they kept in Grog's I want to rage.
Yes.
I love that they kept it in there. I'm like, come on. In the flow of battle, it just sounds something silly to say, but it worked.
Yeah, it totally worked in that moment. It's not going to work for every battle scene, but it worked in that particular one. And I love how just 3 episodes in, I feel like they all have very distinct personalities that are true to the campaign, and I hope that comes across to the people who haven't seen the campaign, that they do get very distinct feels from these characters, and that like it blew my mind how much they felt like their characters, like immediately.
From watching the campaign versus watching the Legends of Vox Machina, is there any that you thought maybe you like a little bit more in the Legend of Vox Machina than you did in the campaign?
I feel like if I had watched the Legends of Vox Machina before I had watched Campaign 1, I think my immediate favorite would have been Percy. Whereas my immediate favorite in Campaign 1 was Keyleth, and then it kind of, Keyleth and Percy were kind of neck and neck for me. I do adore Keyleth in Legends of Vox Machina, but like Percy stood out to me And maybe, like I said, it's probably coming in with the bias of having seen campaign 1, but there's just so many things that I was like, oh yeah, his firearm misfiring in the very first battle and him doing
Like
absolutely nothing in a bar room fight.
In a bar fight, the very first fight
Yeah,
of the
he
show.
does nothing.
Click,
He
damn.
sits out for most
Grog
of it.
falls on him.
Yeah, like it was just like there were days when he just rolled so terribly, and like it just felt so very Percy.
But the thing is, he rolled so bad sometimes.
And then
most of the time it was the golden
yeah,
snitch.
Yeah.
The golden snitch was a thing, and rolling natural 20 after natural 20.
Yeah. And then oh man, because, like I said, because we have the inside of campaign 1, and because of how it was illustrated in the Legends of Vox Machina, Percy's demon, or what memory of a goldfish here, but his thing that's
his
going
warlock
on.
Patron, it was some kind of fiend or demon.
This demon entity, like you can feel that when he was interacting with the coach driver.
His voice changed.
Yeah, his voice changed. He got smoky around him, and like stuff like that wasn't really.
They described
it.
Yeah,
they described it, but it didn't have the same feel. Yeah, like it just. I just right off the bat, you knew, like, oh, he has a story. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the campaign, you were like, damn, he's just straight up vicious. Like, it didn't come across as strongly.
Like they described the smoke and how the smoke kind of billowed out of his collar. But you're like, okay, he's got something going on there, but then it kind of developed over time. Yeah. And in the show, it's like, oh, shit.
Yeah, like, right from the beginning, like, his voice is different, the smoke comes out, it's just a gloss over. And that also I listened to Campaign 1. I did not watch it because we were already so far behind, I wanted to catch up, so I listened to it in the car on my way to work. So that could also be part of it.
So in watching Campaign 1, Grog is my favorite. And he's my favorite in the show as well. What did happen, though, is I like Scanlan much more early in the show than I did in the campaign.
Yeah.
So it took me a while to warm up to Scanlan. I don't really know why, but but it took me a while. I'm like, I don't know if I like this character. But in the show, I'm like, okay, I love Scanlan right off the bat.
Yeah, but that also could be...
It could be the experience of knowing Scanlan from the campaign.
Yeah, exactly.
So trying to avoid like any potential future spoilers for people who new to this and are watching the Legends of Vox Machina who haven't seen Campaign 1. There's some stuff that happens with Scanlan later on that I really hope they do. Please don't spoil it for anybody in the comments. But if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. I really hope they do it if the show goes on long enough.
And I really hope this takes off and it gets really popular and it keeps going, because if Legend of Vox Machina does really well, there's a potential for a Mighty Nine. And I am so here for that. And then if Mighty Nine does good, there's a potential for Campaign 3 further on down the road. And that's just super exciting for me, because so far Campaign 3 is my favorite. Like, I'm all in from episode 1. So yeah, the future potential of this. I'm also like, because they keep growing and they're gaining popularity and stuff, we're getting books. So we have Kith and Kin already. We could get a Percy book that has his whole entire childhood story. How dope would that be?
Right.
There's a possibility of like a Keyleth book to describe her story arc, which I'm not going to go into here, but like all of them have background stories, and they have extensive background stories. So books about each character would be just phenomenal.
And books and graphic novels and everything that they're doing, they're really getting every possible medium. There's an album.
Yeah, that's what I really...
The soundtrack.
Yeah, there's a soundtrack for Legend of Vox
Machina.
Machina, which, yeah, the music in this is way better than it has any right to be. But, like, I like...
Pull on my love. That's been in my head all night.
Yeah. I love how, so far, it seems like Vox Machina, we might get their backstories in books, whereas Mighty Nine's backstories are in comic books. And I like that it's different.
I just realized that I said love plug, and that's not the line.
Did you really?
Yes, I did.
Good job.
Right? It's like, all right, any kids watching, they're not going to know. They shouldn't be watching Legend of Vox Machina anyway.
Probably...
Not really kid friendly. It's
Yes.
your kid, up to you.
Yeah.
You know, like Connor, he
watched it. He loves it.
he watched. Well, no, he didn't watch all of it. He watched the action stuff.
Yeah.
He loved the action. Yeah. The art. What did you think of the art?
I love how it's kind of like a modernized anime type art.
Mm-hmm.
Like they obviously didn't go full anime style, but like it feels very anime-ish,
kind of
especially like it's kind of a mix of the two, and I feel like that's going to pull in an audience, but then like I love how they did the adult humor right from the beginning, so that the adults who might watch it just be like, oh, my kid wants to see this, let me take a gander, be like, oh hey, this is for me, and like get right into it and realize this is not a kid's show.
And
this
there
is
a tiny bit of like that anime silly to it, but not very much.
Yeah, it's like the right amount of anime silly.
And that's one of the things that I have trouble getting into anime with, is because some of it is just so silly.
Yeah.
And there's just like a sprinkle of it in Legend of Vox Machina.
It's like a perfect amount.
Are there any of the like most of the costumes? They're pretty much right like the fan art kind of depicts the costumes. There's one or two that are slightly different. Did you like those changes, or would you?
So we didn't really have like official art for
not a lot.
Vox
No.
Machina, really. I don't like, they didn't have an artist that worked with them and created character portraits like they did in Mighty Nine and in Campaign 3. So I don't know if there's any like official art of Vox Machina. I could be wrong. I can't remember. But there was kind of some things that were standardized, like that people just assumed. The official art that we do have is the comics. I think there is a Vox Machina comic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I noticed that their outfits in this are very similar to their outfits in the comic. Unfortunately, my brain only pays attention to the people that I care the most about, and so their outfits looked basically the same, so I didn't notice too many differences.
Percy's outfit is much different than what most of the fan art out there. He's got like what Taliesin wore in the opening credits. It's very similar to that, with the glasses that kind of multiple like glasses and stuff. I like that version of Percy better than
I feel
the
like we're
Legend of
gonna
Vox Machina.
get.
I think he'll get there. Maybe he'll make them.
Those, the monocle things. It's got a specific term, but like I think he'll get those.
The flippy glasses.
Yeah, because those clip onto your glasses. They are not part of the frame. So I think he'll get there as he's tinkering, because he only it looks like he only has Pepperbox right now.
Yeah.
So like I think as he gets there in his gunslinging, he'll get those, and those will get added on, because those were very kind of spot on. But otherwise, like his outfit's basically the same. Like
it's similar. It's darker. It's more of a dark blue or black.
Yes.
Whereas his before it was more of a bright, almost royal,
like almost
blue.
cobalt, or not cobalt. Cobalt soul blue.
Yeah, it's close.
Yeah, like not quite that bright.
It's kind of more of a royal blue.
Yeah, like a royal blue. But yeah, it's more like a navy-ish color in this, which kind of fits this arc. Like maybe he'll get a new jacket in the next arc, but that fits this arc.
I also want to mention just a quick what's it called? Like a honorable mention for like performances. Kari Payton as Sovereign Uriel, fantastic.
Yes. Oh my God, it was so good.
And for the first, really the third episode, because the first two episodes were stuff that happened pre-campaign, so we don't really know exactly how that played out. But for the third episode, that played out pretty much almost exactly the same as the beginning of the Briarwood arc in the campaign.
There are
some minor differences.
There was one pretty big difference.
Changes that we're not really going to talk about, because anybody who wants to go back and watch campaign 1, I don't want to spoil like a bunch of stuff for them.
Yeah. There are two things that are minor-ish. Like they're not like super minor. There was a lot of super minor things that they changed, but like two things that were relatively minor that definitely got changed, but like worked, and it worked with probably the faster pace that this is going to have.
One of my favorite moments, and this is like not what we were just talking about. Just my brain just woo. When Percy was squeezing his hand and it started bleeding, he was squeezing it so hard. I don't remember that happening in the campaign or Taliesin describing it. Oh, it was a cut from the wine glass.
Remember he squeezed the wine glass?
Yeah, I don't remember
and then
him.
he kept squeezing. I think he still had the stem of the wine glass in his hand.
That makes sense because I'm like, wow, he needs to trim his nails.
No, I think it was the wine glass.
That makes way more sense. Yeah. Dumbass. But overall, just absolutely fantastic. Even better than I could have possibly hoped that it would be.
Yes, so much better. But I want to know what you all thought about it. And I also want to know if there's a character that stood out to you that is your favorite right now. Our son's favorite is Grog.
Yeah, we asked him. We said, Connor, who's your favorite? He said the big guy with the axe. Grog? He's like, yeah, Grog.
Yeah. Mostly because he split a dragon's head in half.
Yeah, I thought that was
like his favorite
awesome.
part.
Yeah. He wanted to watch it again.
Yeah.
Just for that one part. So my favorite is Grog.
My favorite in the show is Percy. Like straight out the gate, Percy.
All right. I'm sure there's stuff that we could have talked about that we didn't, but as we're filming this, we're like talking about stuff in the campaign that might happen later on in the show, and we want to avoid any spoilers for possibly later in the show for people who haven't seen campaign 1, or for people who might be interested in watching campaign 1 after seeing these 3 episodes.
Yeah.
So we've kind of been held back on what we've been saying.
Yeah, there's definitely lots more that we could talk about, but I want new critters to be able to watch this and get really into it and not have to worry about us spoiling stuff that's happening.
So the thing I am most interested to see down in the comment is anybody who's completely new to Critical Role and is watching the Legend of Vox Machina and has not seen anything Critical Role before. I want to know what you thought down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please let us know by dropping a like on it and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.
And thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.